So, I don't know if you all remember this Alligator Alcatraz thing because we got hit with a barrage of news about the president being best friends with a notorious pedophile. But I wanted to remind you that Florida is basically building a concentration camp for immigrants, and apparently they are hoping that a natural disaster will do the job for them. So Florida has no formal hurricane plan for Alligator Alcatraz. Apparently, they found this out through a FOIA request. 2 weeks ago, the Miami Herald requested the complete hurricane slash disaster plan for this facility from the Florida Department of Emergency Management. On Monday, the department spokesman confirmed that there is no such record at all, so their plan during a hurricane is just to wing it. I've talked about this before, but this basically, this is like a virtue signal, but for right-wingers, this whole project. They don't care about housing immigrants or about rule of law. What they care about is demonstrating for their voters that they're being sufficiently cruel to immigrants, legal and illegal, in order to encourage self-deportation, basically, you know, acts of ethnic cleansing, or to make sure that the people who are here know that there's a massive punishment in store for them for existing and for working in this country. Now, I think their whole pretext is that all of this is for gangs or whatever, but the way they talk about gangs is the way Israel talks about Hamas. They'll go to like a Home Depot parking lot and say it was a Tren de Aragua staging site for some kind of military action. So Alligator Alcatraz was really just built to kind of swing the big dick around and say, oh yeah, we're really taking this immigration stuff seriously, so we built a concentration camp where we're going to send everyone. They'll get horrible diseases out in the middle of the wilderness. We won't need to pay for security because if someone goes out into the Everglades, they'll just die, and we'll be totally cool with that. Really wonderful stuff. They're saying that the tents and trailers at the site are equipped to handle hurricane winds to Category 2 strength, and that people on site would have to be evacuated if more intense winds were expected. The facility already relies on generators for on-site power. Neither Guthrie nor the governor mentioned anything. Typo. Wow. Okay. Miami Herald doesn't use ChatGPT. I guess I'll take it. About flood risks at the site, which already had water seeping into the air-conditioned tents where detainees are housed after a particularly heavy rainstorm on opening day. Like, the whole thing, cruelty is the point. They're literally just here like, oh, look how based it is. Look, we made it so that they live in tents, and the tents are going to get knocked over in a hurricane, and they're all going to get eaten by mosquitoes. Like, it's literally just to jerk off online. I can't think of any other way to describe it. This is the consequence of having a terminally online administration, and I think the endless stream of AI art about Alligator Alcatraz basically proves that. The lack of formal plans worries the facility's nearest neighbors, the Miccosukee tribe, which wants to join a lawsuit to close Alcatraz on environmental grounds, which makes sense because, you know, they're literally building it in the middle of the Everglades, which is a pristine, beautiful piece of nature that, in my opinion, should be untouched to the greatest extent possible. Though if you know anything about Florida history, the extent to which it was overdeveloped already is nauseating to think about. The tribe's housing, which surrounds the site, is made of rebar-reinforced concrete. It has extensive emergency management and evacuation plans, including a shelter for tribal members and the strongest building in their complex. The hurricane plan is refreshed every year. So, like, that's literally just to hold up, like, that's the basic standard. And actually, Florida has quite strong building codes in general. So it is a huge, you know, it's not good enough to house them in an extremely hot environment, in an extremely hostile place. It's not enough to kind of parade them around for the media to show how mean you're being to immigrants. It also has to be far below the standards of anything nearby. Flooding is a perpetual issue during storms, he said. After Hurricane Irma dropped almost 2 feet of water on Big Cypress in 2017, the tribe needed pumps to keep the village dry. Gladesmen in the area have reported that during particularly heavy rainstorms, even outside of hurricanes, rain can pile up and inundate the runway on the site. Dude, if you don't understand, like, Florida rain, like, this is absolutely dumping on them. And I have a feeling that what we're basically going to see is a few bad hurricanes where they either barely get these people out or they're stranded there for an insane amount of time. A bunch of horrible things happen. And they're just going to glaze over it. They don't care. Florida is a lost state. They don't have, like, they are full on MAGA and they are full on, like, performative violence, performative cruelty. I don't think that, like, there's any salvaging that. Miami is basically if a shitcoin was a city. Like, it's really bad. I don't get it. And the fact that people are still moving down there is crazy in the face of the insurance crisis and climate change that's coming. I'd say, God help them, but yeah, I don't care if he does. If there are no plans, it certainly puts lives at risk during one of the most dangerous and unpredictable times of year for Florida. Everything about this just shows how poorly planned this was, and now that we're seeing there's no hurricane plans, proof positive, this was not thought through beyond making headlines. And that's basically what I've been saying, is that, like, yeah, this is literally just, like, online woke virtue signaling, but on the right. They're just trying to say, like, oh, yeah, we built the based prison and to print a bunch of AI-generated art about it. You know what this is like? This is like that Willy Wonka exhibit that was like with AI generated advertising showing one thing and then the reality is just like discounted bullshit. What I'm saying is that it's the Fire Fest of prisons. Is that still a thing that people say? Do we say that?